Right. Hello, can everyone hear me? I'm just going to close the door. How's everyone doing today? Can you hear me? Can you see? Well, obviously not see me because we're working on a desk. Just waiting for a few people to join, if you can hear me. Just waiting for a few people to hop on. Is anyone there? Hello, Lauren. Right. Today I want to talk about Russian volume eyelashes. Now, I've got a bit of paper in front of me because we are going to be doing a little bit of drawing so that you can see. I've set it up this way today so that you won't be seeing me. But I'm going to be doing lots of drawings. Well, not drawings, but... So guys, what is Russian volume lashes? So an individual lash, just seeing if I've got this the right way. An individual lash is one on one lash. So let's just see how this is loading up so that you guys can see it. I'm looking at my screen so I can see. I'm just checking that you guys could see. So say that is an individual lash. Now, it would be placed on one natural lash. What a Russian volume lash is it is where you have a thinner lash, but they are found together. So they are a lot thinner than an individual lash. So, a Russian volume lash can be anything from 2 fans, which would be, say, lashes like that, all the way up to 9. So, you could have 9 individual, not individuals, I don't want you to get confused with the individual lashes that are thicker, but an individual Russian. So, you would have 2 all the way up to 9. So you would have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's put one over here, 9. So say for instance that would be a really full-on volume lash because you've got 9 of the individual ones. So Russians, you could always have 2 to 9. Obviously, the more you're putting on a fan, the fuller it's going to look. I'll bring that over a bit. There we go. So, one thing I want to say about the Russian lashes is, with the individuals, you swipe the glue the length of their lash, basically. So quite a lot of it. So their natural lash sucks up into it. With a Russian, you don't. With a Russian, all you're going to do is you're going to pick up the fan, which we're going to go into in a mo. But say, for instance, this is our fan that we want to put on a client. We would never put a lot of glue. You would only use the glue literally at the tip here. So you would literally just dip that little bit at the bottom of the fan into the glue. The higher up you go, if you would dip it in the glue, the less that's going to fan. So if you swiped up to the glue quite high up here, your look would end up being like so. Whereas you really want it to be nice and fluffy like this. Yeah? So with Russians, I always want you to remember you are dipping in just a little bit of the glue. Okay? The higher up you go, the less likely that's going to create a nice fan. We're going to do a little bit of practicing with the Russians. Now, I want you to remember, with Russian eyelash extensions, you want to use really nice thin ones. To do with the curls and things like that, that would be the same as your individuals. They don't change the curls depending on Russians. All the difference would be your sizing. So, for example, with Russians, we advise you to use up to 0.03s all the way up to, say, a 0.07 or a 10. A 0.10 you could use. I like the thinner ones. I like to use, my favourite lashes is CC 0.05s. I love them. But the thinner the lashes are, obviously, the more natural they will look as well. Now, with individuals, it's one on, one lash. With Russians, you're going to need to have a ring. So they always have to be bent. I have ran out of these rings before, and I have used like a cup or anything like that you could have to hand that is a circle. When I'm mobile, and I forgot before, I have used this to pop the lashes around. So I'm just thinking whether to pop you up the other way. I don't dare jinx it for those of you that were watching my individual eyelashes. It took ages to get the camera right. I'm scared if I move it. I'm going to try it. Bear with me, guys, if you get cut off. I will come straight back. Let's see how we go with that. Is that any better? Will that give you a straight on look? I'm just waiting to have a look on the screen. Is that any better for you? So if I'm going to be going like this, I'm just waiting for my camera so I can see. Yeah, this is a better angle, isn't it? Right, guys, so with the Russians, always have them on a ring. Now, again, the different lengths, etc., that you use for Russians is the same as what we would do for individuals. So if you're unsure about measuring a Russian up against a natural lash, I would advise you to go back and watch our individual, and that's got a little bit of shaping going on there for you. I always tape the lashes onto the ring because when you're picking them up, you don't want them to come off the ring. So I always then use some tape. But these are really good. So with Russians, you can't unfortunately put anything on their face, because this needs to be, it needs to be curved so that you could pick up your fans nicely. Does that all make sense, guys? Right, before I do it, everything is always set up correctly on your ring, so facing up like you would on your hand, but it's all on a ring. So what you're going to do is pick up your curved tweezers, and you are literally going to pick up some lashes. Now with Russians, you pick them up quite low. Now I have colour coordinated my lashes on the strips. So basically, if you buy eyelashes, you will see that here there is a brown line. Now I like to use this as a guide for my students. So I always say, pick it up just above that brown line. Now with individuals, you pick from the top. Russians, you're going to pick a few, lightly clamp it, and then wriggle your curved tweezers until you get a fan that you like. Then gently pick it off and pull it towards you and dipping it in the glue. Now I've got no glue in here because I was using that as an example. Now sometimes if I can't get a nice fan, like I just did then, I would dip that in the glue, but just use a little bit of a mover in and tighten up with the tweezers and then place it on. So I'm going to get my glue out. So always give your glue a really good shake before you use it each time. Now, you don't want a lot of glue attached to this at all. And you can, with Russians, you can get glue on the tips of your tweezers. Now, just be really careful because you're getting closer in with the glue. So you're going to literally pick up from above the brown line, gently clamping it, not too hard because you want that to move. Put it towards you. Then you're going to dip just literally a tiny bit. That tiny bit is what you're going to dip into glue. Dip it into glue. At this point, you can amend it so you could gently tap it at the side, look, just to get that nice fan. You would obviously separate your natural lash, so that's isolated. And then you would pop it on like so. You can use your tweezers to kind of fan it out. If you have one rogue like this one, you could normally just gently pull him off. So that is how a Russian fan should be done. I want to show you if you took it too high, the glue. So you're picking up your lash fan. You're twiddling it so it's a nice fan. Can you see? Where am I? There you go. Then just dipping the ends in. Like I said, if you want to make them wider, you could tap it on the edge of your glue ring and pop it on like so. So you want them nice and fluffy. So the secret to getting nice and fluffy lashes is not having the glue go very high at all, only on the end. So you want to bond that fan together so that the top of it all feathers out nicely. If I was to pick it up quite high up the fan, which would be easier, look, because it creates a really nice fan, I'm going to dip a lot more of that in. One second, it's gone a bit rogue. Let's get another one. So say this is the wrong way to do it. If you go up like this, you're just picking a good few. dipping all of that in glue, popping it on. That didn't work because I'm trying to teach you the wrong way. I want you to see what a Russian lash looks like when it's glued all the way at the top. It's so hard to try and do stuff wrong when you're used to, there you go. So if that one's a rogue one, we'll pull him away. This happens with natural lashes as well, and especially with Russians, you find you'll have rogue ones. So if I put this up to the camera, focusing is rubbish, but you can see this one isn't fanned as well as the other two. That's because the glue is all the way up here, so it's only going to fan the ends. So that's what you need to remember with Russians. You need to remember you are only doing, so let me get a fan again, so picking up above the brown line, gently wriggling, and then pulling towards you. You are only dipping in about 2 to 3 millimeters of that because you want the end to bond and for the rest to feather out. Yeah? So it does take practice to get your fans right. Now, what you can do is, if you're qualified in individuals, you can actually use Russians to fill them out. So if you've got somebody that's come to you and she said, I want a natural look, I want individuals, but she's got a bit of a gap on her eye, you can use a Russian one to fill it out. So what Russians do is, because they're fuller and they're fanned, they will start to come off one by one, but also they will cover up any gaps that the client might have. These are really good lashes if they don't have a lot of their own lashes to use. Also, they're also a lot softer and a lot fluffier. Now, I've been using these sponges to practice with. However, I am finding that you need more glue for it to actually stick on the sponge. So when you're using sponges like this, always remember that you need a little bit more glue, but in real life you wouldn't. So here is one I made earlier. So can you see? You can get different coloured lashes. These are blue, but you can't really see it in the light. Now, bear with me one moment. I've got to go and grab my charger. I'm coming straight back. Hey, Charmaine. What's everyone been up to while I'm just charging up my laptop? Anything exciting? Right. So, we're concentrating on our fanning today, because that is our secret with the Russians. Now, if this was a client, you still have to follow some of the individual rules. So, you still have to put smaller lashes where this dark bit is, because lashes here are never ever long. So here you want to put no more than 9/11s on, I'd say. 9 to 11's maximum. Now, if you were doing this as a treatment like you're going to be doing, you're going to create your fan. I want you to ignore the size. The reason why I've got longer lashes here is because I want you to be able to see them quite clearly. So we're going to go from the top of the brown line, fanning it because we've only ever so slightly clamped it. Pull it towards you. Only dip the end in. Now, if you're not completely happy with your fan, like I'm not there, remember to tap it a little bit at the side, look, while you're waiting for the glue, and that can create a nice fan for you. Then you're going to separate the lash and pop it on. Now, this happens in real life. You will create a really nice fan and it will just suddenly collapse. That is so annoying, especially when you get it all looking great and then client moves and you think that would have been a nice fan. It can be frustrating, but it happens even to me now. It still happens. You still create a nice fan and then, or because you're getting closer to the glue, your tweezers, it gets stuck in your tweezers. So what I would suggest is to have your barber side right next to your hand so that you can literally keep dipping and cleaning those tweezers so that it keeps it fresh for when you're picking up your lashes, because like I said, you're getting closer to the glue than what you do with your individuals. So always make sure you give them a good wipe. So we created a nice fan again. We're just dipping the end in. Yes, keep wiping your lashes as you're going along. Your tweezers, sorry. Now, you can widen the fans. When you have rogue ones, it's really annoying, and sometimes the rogue ones can be attached to the lash. And then when you pull it off, you pull off your great fan. It's really annoying. So, we're just going to keep going through it and practicing together. Create your nice fan. Dip just the end in glue. I want to get rid of these two. So normally I just use my fingers, if I'm honest, just to wipe it away. Separate your lash and pop it on, like so. We're just going to keep on going. Yes, so Charmaine, if it's the same rule with individuals, so if they were really, really fair, I normally think because the lashes are black and your glue's black, I normally think they don't really need to have them tinted. If your client does want them tinted, I would say yes, definitely 24 hours before. Because if you leaved it long, if they did it on the same day, the tint will make the lashes quite oily and that will make them slide off a lot quicker. So yeah, I would definitely say 24 hours before. Or what you can do is apply the lashes underneath. So when their eyes are open, they look darker. So what I mean by applying it underneath is apply your Russian fan under instead of on top. If that makes sense for everybody. So today we're just going through your technique really, because you have everything online about, I noticed that with the individual ones, I think I went a little bit into the manual a bit too much. When you guys have all got access to the manual, you know about insurance, you know about patch testing. So all of these things, I'm just here to help you perfect your skills and highlight things and questions that people might have. But we're going to keep going. So again, we're going to pick up some more lashes. So when you're learning, I do think you go through more lashes than what you would when you're fully qualified, because you're making fans, you're going to chuck some away, or a fan. Like even now, sometimes I do, I make a fan and you don't like it and it hasn't gone to plan, so then you just bin that one. Or they all just crumble. No worries. Ask me any questions you want because this is your guys' time. So again, I'm creating a nice fan, dipping it in the glue, moving it around. Now, as you can see, I've got one here. There you go, I removed it. Now, with the Russians, again, it's exactly the same as the individuals. It goes on every single lash. I knew that was going to happen. It wasn't bonded at the end. So then 2, 3 have come off. There we go. Now, the thing I like about Russians is because they're softer and thinner, if your client said to you, oh, they're too long, I don't like them, you can slightly trim them with the Russians and not actually notice it. Individuals, because they're thicker, you will lose the shape of them if you trim them. So, but with Russians, because they are literally, one of these Russian lashes is the same thickness as your natural lash. So they are really, really thin. So that is why you're able to. Now, I didn't need to separate here because it was strip lashes, but if that was a human eye, you would never not go near them without isolating that lash. These Russian lashes as well are really good for making your own strip lashes. So if you have strip lashes that you want to make and create a look yourself while you're bored in isolation, then again, I should be isolating a lash, but because these are strip lashes, I don't need to, and it's a gap I'm filling in. But yes, if you wanted to create your own strip lashes, this is exactly what you would do. Use strip lashes, like ones that you might be practicing on today, and then apply your fans and then peel it off. Use not eyelash glue that we're using today, use the one that can be applied to for the skin, and you have your homemade lash strips. Just a little tip for you there. I'm going to start making some while I'm on lockdown. Except for I'm running out of the strip lashes. Again, I would be separating. So ignore me, I'm just doing it to fill in a gap. Now, like I said, I'm going to be making some to wear myself. So, with Russians, at the end, you always want to make sure that you're following the rules, exactly the same as what we went through the other day with the individuals. You don't want to go too long and too heavy because you could damage their own lashes. So only go as long as half of their natural lash length. Now, however, the ones on the ends are always, well, that's a lie. Some people have cat eyes where they're longer at the ends. But most people have shorter lashes here, going in longer and then short again. You would always put shorter ones here because obviously you don't want to make that too heavy for the lashes that are on the end, and that will make them come out quicker. So always follow their natural lash length, and then, but go, when I say follow it, you can measure against it, and if you think that your lashes are about half the length of the natural lash, then you're good to go. Also, if your client, I find with Russians that if the clients say they want a really full look or a really natural look, then they see it and say, oh, actually, I wanted them a bit more fuller. You can add more. With individuals, you can't really. But with Russians, you can say absolutely fine and add more on top. Because you can use a fan and attach that fan also to a fan extension, if that makes sense. So you could keep getting fuller and fuller with the Russians. They could be as thick and as full as what your client wants them to be. But just remember, if they've got really baby lashes, having them too thick and full will damage their natural lashes. So you've got to think of their natural lashes. Can it cope with them being really full? All right, Charmaine, no problem. Yeah, so you don't want to make them too full. You've always got to look after the natural lashes, so don't put anything on too heavy or too full that they droop. So always see younger girls could get away with having really thick and full lashes because their natural lashes are normally quite healthy and quite long. So we're just placing it on here like so. So always go to the bottom, picking up as many lashes as you want, depending on your look. Get rid of these stray ones. This is what I always do. I always use my fingers. Now there is a pinching method, but I've tried loads of times. I just like the way I do it. I'm one of these that I don't like change. I don't like that fan. Let's get rid of it. If it's not broken, it doesn't need to be fixed, is what my motto is. So Russians always taking from the bottom, wriggling till you create a nice fan, dipping it in the glue. Like I said, if I do this all the time, I tend to tap it at both ends because that helps get that fanned out. Separate their own lash. Now sometimes I do this, dab it. No, it's come apart at the bottom, if you can see. So we would then dip a bit more glue in. There you go. Separate the lash. And apply like so. There we go. So, one thing I do want to touch up on is, it doesn't say, one thing I do want to touch up on is I've had people say to me, with Russians you can get loads of different mapping techniques. So for example, I don't know if you would have seen on Facebook people doing things like this, saying I've got a really good mapping idea. I used 11s here, 12 here, 13 here, all the way to there. Then I used 12, then I used 11s. Really great, and it gave this amazing eye look. Now, yeah, you can create something like that. However, that's a great eye look. You can follow that as a basis if you see something that they create a look that you really like. However, don't go by the lengths. Now, I've explained this on some of my videos before. The reason why I'm saying don't always follow it by the lengths is if you've got a client whose natural lashes are a 30mm or a 14mm, you want to create this look that you've seen on Facebook and the mapping, but these lengths won't apply to that. Because you would never, if their natural lashes is say 13mm and a 14mm, you wouldn't put 12 on them because their natural lash is going to be longer than their Russian lash. So if you see on Facebook some of these really great mapping ideas, they are really good to use as a guide. However, you would step up the length because of the natural length is longer than what they have said. Does that make sense? I see it all the time. I get emails from students all the time, and it's great. I'm not complaining because I'm here to help you, and I'm loving the fact that I can still work. I'm loving the fact I can still interact with you guys, but I just want to make you aware of, yeah, these mappings that you do see on Instagram and everything else, they are fantastic ideas, but do not use the length as you'll go by length. Use it as a guide. If you want to create the look that they've done, do that by all means, but keep doing what you learnt before by putting it up against the natural lash. Just see how long they are to whether they could have that or whether you would have to step up the lashing. So say for instance they've told you used 12, but your client's natural lashes are 13 here, then I would say use a 14 and so forth. They've got a 13 here, but their natural lash here is 14, use a 15. I would say don't use anything longer than a 15. You won't need to use anything longer than a 15, because even if their natural lash was a 14, the volume that you're going to give them is going to make it look a lot longer than what you think they are, and because they're going to be fuller as well. I've seen people asking where they can buy 18mm Russian volume lashes. Now, if you're on these lash tribe groups, I don't. The maximum length ours go up to is 15mm. Now, also you'll see on all these feedback people being like, 18mm lashes, are you kidding me? So yeah, I say you wouldn't really need to have an 18mm. 15 should be the longest. You still want to look after their own eyes, otherwise they won't, every time they come back to you, your work's going to look messy. So you need them to have good eyelashes underneath for them to you will go through loads of tweezers as well, because you hold them so tight when you're learning. So pick it up at the end, twiddle in. So yeah, it's a good idea to follow these mappings. They've got some really good designs out there for these volume lashes. However, just always bear in mind that your length might not be the same length. You might not be able to use that length because the client's natural lashes are longer. Now, what you can do with Russians is there's so many great designs that you could do. So you could use Russians like this, but then you could add long individual ones if they want that spiky kind of look, so where you've got a nice fluffy look and then they have like the one long one. So you could do that as well. So you could create loads of looks. You could create a cat eye, which is longer at the ends, going in shorter. But please always remember, from this black area here that looks messy, I want you to remember that those lashes should never ever be that long. It's so important, because if you were to put one here, let's say what I'm using is a 14 today, if you were to put a 14 on here, that's just going to look silly, because nobody's lashes are a 14 in the inner. So always make sure you step down to smaller to give it a natural look. Now, Russians are a lot fuller, and obviously taking into account that you need, so say for instance, you won't be able to see that on the camera, I don't think. There's a stray one that's kind of gone up. I would have trimmed that. So I would literally get my nail scissors, I could see him, and just trim it like so. Does anyone have any questions? So always picking up at the end, fanning, dipping that in like so, separating so you've got their natural lash, and on it goes. I absolutely love Russian lashes. So these have been put on, so I'm going to show you the difference, because these we've put on about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 fans. So this is what your individuals will look like compared to what the Russians look like. Like I said, there's a lot of glue on this one, only because I had to get it to stick on the sponge. But if you would see the difference in individual to Russians, so much more fuller. So guys, get practicing your fans. And if you need any help, let me know. But that is literally how we would fan. So I will do it again. If you get one like that, just get rid of it. So clumping them together and moving your tweezers to fan it. Pulling it off towards you, getting rid of that one. Only dipping that into the glue. We're not dipping all of it in. You can move them while it's in the glue and then pop it on. That is a perfect fan. Where are you? That one there is the perfect fan. So these are the ones that we are a mixture. So this one, they've all got a bit of glue on so that I can stick them, but this is exactly how it should be. So these ones were the ones I wanted to show you that take the glue up quite high. So for example, that's the one that was the glue was up high, so I can show you it doesn't fan as nicely. So this is the perfect one that you want to see achieve. So again, getting your tweezers, jiggling it, pulling it towards you, just dipping the end in. And applying. Now, when that's dry, you can use your tweezers to just go in and straighten that out a bit more. Like so. Just want to touch up on a few things. So, you can buy pre-made fans. However, I don't advise you to do that. The reason being, a lot of students ask what's the difference. The reason being is the pre-made fans are already glued together. So when you're picking that up and you're going to apply it to the natural lash, you're going to be adding more glue to it. So what you would find, again, these are the ones that we added too much glue so you can see the difference of the fanning. But what you'd end up is quite heavy with glue here because it would already have been glued for the fan to stay together and then glued again for you to apply to the lashes. So if it was pre-made fans, they are a lot easier and last a lot longer if you can make the fans yourself. One other thing I want to talk about is, and this is really frustrating, everyone thinks that Russian lashes are the same as cluster lashes. Now, that isn't the case. Cluster lashes are known as party lashes. They're not lashes that last a long time. Because what they are is they're bonded normally with like a metal kind of or a material thing that's tied together. So they're very heavy. Also, the bulb of where they're, I call it the bulb bit here, where they glue them together, where that is so heavy and they are really stuck, it's not like a pre-made fan. They will come off one by one. They will come off, all together. So the fan would come off together, leaving a big gap. But because of the bulb of the end of it, if you see any pictures of a cluster lashes, it is so much more heavier than a Russian lash. So again, like I said, they really damage your lashes. They can really ruin them. You don't need to be qualified to offer cluster lashes. But if somebody says to you, what's the difference between a Russian and a cluster? That is the difference, is clusters are a lot more heavier at the end that's attached to their lash. So therefore, they will come out a lot quicker. What will happen with the Russians is gradually, one by one, they will start coming loose from that bulb at the end. Let me see if I can get one off. So they should start to fall off one by one, like so. Sometimes they do fall off in a clump. Sometimes that does happen. But normally they should be coming off one by one like this. Like so. Whereas clusters won't. A cluster will come off like that. So it's still got everything attached. But clusters are really bad for your lashes. Guys, have any questions for me? So, again, that is just how you'd make an amazing fan. Dip it in. Like I said, you only want to dip a little bit of it in because you want them to fan out nicely. I decided last night I want to create better videos for you guys. So I knew that was going to happen. I was getting to... I want to create some better videos. So I will be next week uploading another photo for Russians and individuals. And it will be kind of trimmed from other stuff that we've been talking about and moulded all into one. But today I didn't want to focus too much on the theory side of things, because as I explained, it is all in the manual. So removal is the same as individuals, so you could follow that from the class the other day. But I wanted to mainly just come on and go through the fanning techniques with you all and mapping. And I'm going to be creating my own eyelashes strips, so watch this space. As soon as I'm out of these strips for the mannequin, so I have ordered some more. So as soon as they come, that will be my strip lashes sorted. So I will be uploading a lot more videos, but this was just a recap for you of how to create the perfect fan. Everything is exactly the same. You still need to get close to the skin area, but without actually touching the skin. Always give them a good brush before and after, because if any were to come out, you don't want your client to go off and brush them and them to come out when she's sat in the car brushing her lashes. Russian lashes I am absolutely in love with. I love them. They are so soft and so fluffy. And just look absolutely amazing. Guys, I did some case study work today, marking some of you guys' case study work. I have got to say, I don't know whether it's been on lockdown, but the people's, all my students do really well, I'm not saying that. But I've seen some absolutely amazing sets of Russian lashes today. So, well done, guys. Really, really massive well done. Seen a lot of men as well. And you know what? It's a shame because the lashes that have been sent through have been absolutely amazing sets. It's a shame that it wasn't on a woman that could keep them, rather than have it on a man that's going to have them taken off straight away. But that's a little bit of a refresher's course for you guys about your fanning and your mapping. Have a look at people's mappings, like I said. But do always bear in mind that that might look like a great map, but that isn't necessarily a look your client might be able to have because of the length of her lashes. So always make sure you use it only as a guide. I'm going to be creating a few worksheets and stuff as well that I'm going to be popping onto our group and letting everyone have access to. But yeah, I wanted to go in. If you want to learn a little bit about measuring up the lashes, etc., that is on our individual video. That was put on Monday, and it is the same technique as the Russian to measuring up the lashes. You're just going to create a fan, pop it up against it, and make sure that it is the right length. Now, I did say on the individual video, what I would always say that's their natural lash. Imagine this is like a fan. So I use one finger, but imagine it's a fan, a Russian fan. Now, if you put that on top, there's nothing for that to grip to. So that becomes heavy. That will droop. And as that's drooping, that will pull out the natural hair. So I always say, don't go longer than half of their natural lash length. Okay, because that is nice, that's got not too heavy. That natural lash will grow out healthy when the new lash comes in. So always remember, don't go too long. Alright guys, so this video is going to be available on playback. But yes, tips. Just wanted to go through a few little bits, but do watch the individual one, even if you'd have to be individually qualified for an insurance company to let you do Russian eyelashes. So what I will say to you is do go back and have a little look at the individual video, because like I said, when it comes to measuring the lash length, couldn't speak then that's got tips on there as well. Always remember, use pads to hold the bottom lashes down, because if you have one hair that goes up to that and you glue it, it would only be one hair, but where it's quite elasticated, the eye will feel like it's almost shut. So always make sure your bottom lashes are always completely covered. Try not to make your fans beforehand, because like I said earlier, you will end up with too much glue, because you'll be gluing them together, then gluing them on your customer when they get there. So always try and make your fans as you go along. Does anyone have any questions before I shut off? I will be, like I said, going through and doing more examples, etc. But I wanted to mainly concentrate on people wanting to learn how to create the nice fan. And that's how. I'm obsessed with brushing them. I love Russians. You can't see how nice they are on camera, but they're my favourite. Right, guys. I will be updating over the weekend like I said, some new videos, etc. for you all to watch back on. But this is how you would create your nice fans for your individuals and for your Russian volumes. Message me if you've got any questions. Message me if you want any additional information, and I will get all that sent over to you. If you are bored at home and you wear strip lashes all the time and you have the Russian stuff, Russian lashes in, then you don't have to. You can create your own lash strips, so saves you buying them. So guys, that's a little hints and tips for you, but like I said, I will be back with more videos. If you've got any questions, need help with anything, please let me know. I'm here to help you, and I'm bored, so I would be forever grateful. I hope you guys are all well and staying safe. These videos are available and playback at any time, so feel free to watch it along at any time that you want. They won't be taken down. If you want me to do additional information, you're struggling with something, let me know so that I can do a video, because it might be that actually more people are struggling with that than I'm aware of. On Monday, we are coming live with you for brow lamination. Now, I do have a live model for the brow lamination. So, yes, 1 o'clock on Monday will be a brow lamination course. So, like a little refresher courses with any questions that you guys might have. Again, like I keep saying, let me know if there's anything you want me to go through. But you guys take care, stay safe, and I will speak to you all in the future very soon. Take care. Bye. Oh, before I go, if you do create your own strip lash look from these strips, send over a photo, because I might offer a competition. The best set of made strip lashes like so, I want to see a photo of you wearing them, a before photo of what they look like before you added your own extensions to them. So I want a photo of before you added the extensions, a photo of you wearing your lash strips, and the winner's going to get a free Russian lash tray of lashes. So there you go. Nice little bit of competition. Right guys, take care, and let me know if there's anything you need or I can help you with. Take care guys.